And we seem to be live. Let me go ahead and check. Says we are, but are we? We'll see for a moment. Yes, we are in fact live. Awesome. All right. Hello, everyone. Ace here. Welcome to today's live stream. So yeah, before I even start the super chats, because I do know everyone wants to know if Dev is even here. Yeah, about that. So I have Dev's channel is streaming right now, for the record. Unfortunately, it is Dave streaming on there because Dev decided to go shopping today. I am not kidding. Good afternoon. I do have a backup guest here today. So yeah. First, before I do have a backup guest, the Twin Commander, whose channel you can see here. Go ahead and check him out if you want to. He was in the event that Dev wasn't going to show up. The debate was going to change to whether or not it's even worth debating Dev in the first place. But here, I have the clips for everyone to see of Dev's buddy explaining to everyone what exactly happened. So let's see this glory ourselves.
Whatever the next move is. No, Dev, no. I think he's off. I think they're off shopping or something. There was talk of shop today. You should both slip in the mud and peel each other instead.
So yeah, that. And other people were asking about, reminding him about the debate specifically, and
I mean, really? Is Dev present? No. No, he was supposed to go shopping today.
So yeah, there we go. He went shopping instead of actually going to his own debate. He did not come to his own debate. Now, in the event that he tries to pull the nonsense of he didn't know, thanks to you guys, here is his pinned tweet. It's still his pinned tweet. And as you can see, we ratioed his own pinned tweet with invites to my debate. So he knows 110% about the debate. And he had Dave come on to basically take the flack for it. That is the level that Dev is on now. And remember, if you don't show up to a debate according to Dev, you're a coward. So, funny how that works now, isn't it? But now that we've gotten that little intro out of the way, I believe I will turn it over to my guest for a moment, Mr. The Tower Commander. Welcome aboard to the stream. Are you here? Commander might actually be having technical issues. I don't know. He did say he was going to be on the stream, and in the event, look, even in that, I was going to actually, here's the thing about the debate I was going to have with Dev. I was actually going to be covering a lot of the topics that he likes covering anyways. Because, yes, he is shopping. Dev is, in fact, shopping. Yeah, that was his excuse. He is, in fact, shopping. Commander is here. He might just be having technical issues. I don't know. But in the meantime, I will keep you guys entertained, I guess, while he gets ready. And once he is ready, he can just let us know. But yeah.
Hello, Ace.
Oh, hey, is this Commander?
No, this is someone else. Would you like me to leave? Do you only want to talk to one person?
Hey, right now, you know what? Right now, I'm more than happy to have another guest on.
Yeah, so...
You don't have voice permissions? Hold on, let me get that fixed. I'm sorry. Let me just get this all squared away here. I'll have this right back. So, I don't know how this works, but we'll try to get this. He should have voice permissions. I wouldn't know why. I've never really thought voice. Okay, let's see. Profile. Open mod view. I don't know if that is what I need. It's been I don't really have to do any mod work on this channel, so it's weird that it's having issues like that. Really, really weird.
Can you hear me? I'm just a random person who jumped in.
Hey, yeah, I can hear you perfectly fine.
That's rather strange because it might just be a technical issue on his end because I was able just to jump in, no problems.
All right, so here's what I would, Commander, if you can hear me, would you be willing to jump out and jump back on? And when you jump back on, we can then, I guess, see if it works again. So that might be the issue. Brave Sir Dev bravely ran away. Yes, I know. The fact that his excuse was going shopping is what really makes it for me. At least...
Well, you see, Ace, if you had a job or something you were in the middle of doing all day, that would make you a coward for not being able to jump on.
Yeah. Especially considering my line of work in the day anyways. That's hilarious. Yeah. So I got just 725 donates 20 Canadian dollars, says some leaf bucks for the leaf that ditched. Thank you very much. Zen the Despot, Dev is a no-show. I'm shocked, I said. Well, not that shocked, but still. I know I have a few others super chats because people were sending super chats yesterday because I had this stream set a full 25 hours in advance, so he would have zero excuse for trying to pull this. Point Curation,
I mean, other
says,
than being busy picking up his welfare checks.
Yeah. Let me see if this is even... Okay, this is working out. Good. Solon says, wait, did Dusty Knees talking colostomy bag decide to stop running away? No, he did not. Looks like early Christmas. It is not. But it is close to the 1-year anniversary from when he announced his response video. That was going to be done, quote, soon, unquote. So... yeah, that is something all right. Italian Isaac Clark says, hi, I can't stay, but I want to say this. I have Wayback Machine backups of a combo where Dev said, please can't work without a gov because people would be too paranoid to leave their home because thieves. Honestly, at this point, I have half a mind to say that part of the point of the justice system is to keep the thieves safe from the average man. Because otherwise, yeah, it wouldn't go very well for the thieves, I don't think.
Well, Ace, you misunderstand. Dev has cracked ontology and has decided that the only way police may be utilized is to stop people he doesn't like from talking. That's the only reasonable use for them.
Oh, yeah!
Or doing things he doesn't like.
Yeah, that reminds me. The whole... did you hear about him trying to argue that one time for a Ministry of Truth because he thinks lies are not protected under the First Amendment?
Oh yes, this was one of the things I took umbrage with him. He was just to give some pretense. I was one of the people who was making fun of him in that other live stream. I could text, but I couldn't talk because it's unfathomable that people have other things going on in their life to Dev. Mm-hmm. But so he was. In particular, whenever he's seething about, all these detractors didn't come on, I was basically the one he was talking about because I was pointing stuff like this out about him. Mm-hmm. And yes, he has zero issue with Ministry of Truth. He had no problem when Biden was shutting people down and floating this idea around. He was perfectly fine with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't... the sheer fact that he thinks the Ministry of Truth is a liberal idea, a centrist position, is fucking wild. If that is the centrist as far as Dev is concerned, I'd hate to think how far you would have to be an actual legit leftist in his mind.
Yeah, no, the fact that he doesn't know the First Amendment but talks... This is why I honestly think, going back to your original debate point about... or discussion point about it being pointless to talk to him, he genuinely knows nothing about the First Amendment. He doesn't know its current precedent. It's actually one of our strongest, of all of our amendments, it's probably the strongest protected of all of them. Mm-hmm. It's changed very little. Basically, you can lie about people. He doesn't know.
Hold on. Let's see something. Space Mauler says, hey, Ace, I just saw Dev in Mauler's chat. He clearly ain't too busy. Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
So
There we
not
go.
only
Commander's here.
all right, hey, Commander, welcome to the stream.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you now. So yeah, I'm gonna
Cool.
let me, if it's all right with you guys, I'll just check see if he did in fact actually go onto Mauler's stream real quick, because if he did, that's let's find out. Yeah, Mauler is streaming, so add playing here. I'm just gonna
I just
look.
had to close.
Yep, he is on the chat! He is, in fact, on the chat. He ran
Oh
from
my
the debate,
God.
110%. He is in Mauler's chat. Somebody... Okay, I'm going to send the link
my
to the
God.
stream here. So you guys, go yell at
And he-
Dev and tell him that he is still due for that live stream. But yeah, just for the sake of it, just so everyone can see, I'm going to take this out. So yeah, you can see this is Mauler's stream. Here he is. Dev says, "Oh no, indeed, Dev.
Dude,
Oh
he
no,
has the
indeed, you've
temerity-
been caught in 4K, my man."
He has the temerity to call people who directly try and talk to him via either super chat or just straight up chat on the Wick stream cowards, but he literally runs away from even chatting with you when he can do it.
Yeah,
So
right.
what does that make him?
Right. How dare I actually be at work at the time of the stream? Right? How dare I be at work at the time of the stream? Let alone what I actually do for a living anyways, which makes his comments even more hilarious. But yeah. So he has his buddy going live in place of him. He then decides to go and start commenting, "What the fuck? What's all this mass psychosis?" Oh, gee, Dev, I wonder what it could be. We only ratioed your pinned comment on Twitter with the invites to this debate that you...
I even I direct messaged him on Discord, and I was like, "Dude, we're doing this today. I'm taking your place if you don't show up."
All right.
I went into Arch's channel and direct messaged him. Well, that's about it.
Oh boy, this is turning... Yeah, he was supposed to be... He was supposed to go shopping too, was his excuse earlier. So here he is watching this stream.
Oh, for God's sakes, man.
Oh, man. Now,
This is a classic Devonian maneuver.
He's not even watching our stream. That's the worst part. Is he's watching a different stream.
oh, this keeps getting better and better. So, let me get this straight. He does an open for everyone stream, or what he calls it that. He only reads the super chats, as far as the chat's concerned. It's on a completely different channel. He does very little actual advertising in the days leading up to it, even though I did find out about it. I wasn't able to go because of work anyways. Wasn't even able to read the chat. But he does all that, claims that anyone that doesn't show up, regardless of reason, is a coward. So when I invite him to this debate, make sure that he gets the message to the point that he's just having to lie through his teeth by pretending that he didn't get the message, even though it's...
he checks.
Even though his
he
own
checks
pinned tweet
Twitter.
is ratioed, he still is trying to pretend, "Oh, I didn't know." No, you did know, you damn motherfucker.
Ace, here's some on-the-ground reporting about that Wick debate. I'm sorry if I keep interrupting. Let me know if you want to.
No, go ahead.
Commander.
This is
this
beautiful.
is very funny. So he
you're good.
he did not even read the super chats directed towards him during the Wick debate. Wick fed them to him and suspiciously left out ones that actually pushed back against him, which makes his claims of cowardice even worse. Because people did push back on him. Wick just ignored them. People straight up said their super chats weren't read.
Yeah. Oh, man. Let's see. Marquis Obscurite says, "Dev is the quintessential Canadian, having hatred, dealing American democratic ideals that they don't even know of while acting they know what that is. Here's some more cash. I'm gonna catch you later, Dev is a sloggy slur." Yeah. Ace, please go on the Archcast. I'm actually in talks right now with V to go on to one of his streams next week, we'll see how it ends up. But yeah, that was all right. So, Commander, I believe you were going to debate that you were going to be on backup as to whether or not it's even worth the time to debate Dev anymore.
Yeah.
I would argue
for
showing
Space Marine 231 in the chat. Yeah, I feel bad for Mauler too because Dev literally left him holding the bag and then chatted in the chat and then turned the entire chat into a shit show.
Yeah, don't give Mauler any shit for that. He's not at fault at all for that, but it is really funny to see Dev screw up yet again like this.
Yeah, no, Dev is basically like EFAP's special kid they let come on sometimes, and then everyone hates him. No one knows why he's there, but someone feels bad for him.
And similarly, while I did say go ahead and remind Dev about the live stream on the actual Dev live stream, don't really bother Dave too much for what it's worth because, again, Dave might be associated with Dev, but that's no reason to condemn Dave in himself, I don't think. So he's kind of left holding the bag too on this. Yeah, but yeah, this is just really, really funny. So yeah, remember, this is Dev the Brave. And remember, according to Dev, running away from a debate makes you a coward.
Dev the Brave cowardly ran away. He so bravely ran away.
Indeed he did. So, I do think, for what it's worth, Commander, I did already show off your channel a little bit, so welcome to the stream, for the record.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you got the right one, so... hold on. Yeah, the Tower Commander, that's it. So, right. I guess I should introduce myself, huh?
Alright, we do avoid trying to do IR or reveal IRL information too much.
Yeah, I'm not going to explain too much about myself, but... So, the Tower Commander. The Commander part comes from back in the day when World of Warcraft was still going on. That was the username that my brother gave me. The Tower part is a derivation of my last name. Mm-hmm. If a little bit of information about myself is that I was active duty in the United States Marine Corps from 2016 to 2021. I'm now serving as in the SMCR as a reservist. I sent Ace a picture.
Yep.
Just so he can confirm it. And
yep.
If you look at it, that is my ASVAB score. You don't have to show that off. But
yeah, I'm going to leave that.
Obviously, I could edit that thing. But if anyone knows anything about the ASVAB, on the bottom there, it says what my ASVAB score is, and it's a 99 percentile. And then it gives the different scores, and under the GT score for the Marine Corps, it's a 146. Now, if you guys don't know anything about the ASVAB and the standardized testing to get into the Marine Corps, that's going to make absolutely no sense to you. But for the people who do know what that means, that is probably the highest score that anyone has ever heard of in this chat.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is
the point. Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
The point I'm trying to make on that is I am very, very, very good at taking standardized multiple choice questions.
All right. That's fair enough.
I see a Lance Corporal in there. Lance Corporal anime guy. Yeah. Yo, Devil Dog. Hoorah.
Yeah, I never actually served in the military myself. I am technically law enforcement. That's my background. But yeah, I've never actually served in the military myself. But yeah. But yeah, I do know. Well, yeah, but that is pretty good from the sounds of it. I suppose the thing with my line of work is I guess my line of work does help in a debate in theory because, well, you do kind of have to deal with a lot of guys aren't necessarily the most honest in the line of work, so that's just how it is.
Yeah, it's part of it. And the reason why I point out that score is that, according to the Marine Corps, I am a pretty intelligent guy. But for, like, when we're talking about, like, debates and crap, you got your intelligence, you have your social intelligence, and you have your wisdom. And I honestly don't think that Dev has any of that, honestly.
Elda Gusto says technically law enforcement prison. Well, I'm not saying yes, but I'm not saying no. Okay, yeah, I am actually. I actually work at a federal facility there, so technically it's a federal facility. We have feds there, but yeah.
Yeah, I have a buddy who works, he's a Marine, he works at a prison. I think he is actually a cop now.
Yep. Yeah, it is good work, definitely. It's definitely a massive step up from the old job for me. Pays a lot better and all that, so that...
I gotta tell you, it was fun during the government shutdown. A bunch of my Marines weren't actually getting paid. Oh, yeah.
Hold on.
They weren't exactly well off.
Oh.
Am I an unsubscribe fan? The Fighting Knight. I am not sure who the unsubscribe is.
I've heard the name before. I spent a whole 3 minutes drawing the... Okay. Let's see what he... Okay, Dev's claiming that I'm an obsessed A-logger now or something, which will be really funny.
A-logger.
It's not on Twitter, so I don't know where it is. Maybe it's in the chat or something of Mahler's thing. So, he's still commenting on Mahler's. Yeah. So, yeah, I will say this, poor Mahler on that, because it's not his fault his stream's ending up the way it is right now. It is entirely Dev's fault. Elga Prison's handing out like 7K, 12K signing, but well, someone needs to tell them, send the money that they owe me then. Shino Boo Boo says, Ice 1918 time to deport Dev. Unironically, yes. But remember, me showing up for work in that kind of environment makes me a coward.
Oh my god.
You don't understand. You have to both wrangle the criminally insane both on and off time. So he just wanted you to roll it all into one. You had to wrangle him during that while you were on hours too.
Yeah. Dev shopping was a lie, apparently. Yep. Made that even worse. All right, so I believe the discussion for the debate was whether or not it's even worth the time actually debating Dev, right?
Yeah.
So, I know this might seem slightly unfair, but I'm going to present the actual course of how things have went with this debate invitation and how he ran as evidence that it's at least worth inviting him to debates.
I mean, it's funny if nothing else. Oh, unsubscribe is Brendan Herrera. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
Yeah, Donut Operator, Fat Electrician. Yeah, I know those guys. I think they had on, what's that guy? The guy who does the funny voices for Habitual Line Crosser. I think they had on one time.
All right. I don't know who that is, but I do know, of course, about Daniel, or I do know about Brandon Herrera and Donut Operator, so... Yeah, the Darwin Awards videos are definitely educational. Some of them are very cringe-inducing if you've been around firearms for any length of time. Just,
We had one kid so I guess I can say this. I served in Fort Sill, Oklahoma with the Marine Corps training detachment over there.
Okay.
And it's the artillery training detachment. I'm an administrator. And we had one kid who went on leave for like 2 weeks, and he ended up shooting himself in the foot.
Oof.
We had to kick him out.
Yeah. Penn asks, what was the theme of the debate? I was actually going to cover the Dev's favorite topic. Basically, challenge him on his own front yard. I was going to challenge him on the whole Eastman memo nonsense that he likes bringing up constantly. Because that is that's what he loves bringing up. And that's also the reason, or the last time we actually did a discussion on Twitter, the last time that he actually had it, because he had a miserable go of it, to be honest, because I kept pointing out very inconvenient discrepancies in his own line of reasoning. So, for example, how they were talking back. This was late 2020, or this was early 2024, I think it was. So Dev was arguing, apparently more evidence came out about Feds being present during 1/6, right? And Dev's defending them when there was evidence coming out that they might have been involved in riling up the crowd. Well, I was saying, well, look, hold on. If you have federal agents riling up the crowd to commit acts against the U.S. government, well, what do you call that when you have federal agents under the pay of the U.S. government actively working to incite violence against the U.S. government?
Violence?
Yeah. What do you call that?
Provocateurs, false flag operation, maybe?
Traitors?
Yeah, that's one of them.
And so I was pointing that out, and he says...
You're in front of the Capitol building. You're a federal agent. You have been ordered to piss off people as much as possible to start a riot, while congressmen are on location, and people start throwing bricks into the windows. Yeah, I would say that's obeying an unlawful order.
Yeah, that's an actual crime. And I was pointing this out, and he says, okay, but what about the crowd? Okay, but what about the people that incited the crowd, the federal agents? And he says, and I say, that's treason there. Well, so was the crowd. Okay, but you're admitting that the agents did the treason too, but you're still saying the agents shouldn't be punished for that? And that was part of it there. Which, by the way, he also has been on record openly arguing that the actual protest and riot itself was not actually the coup attempt, and he keeps using the Eastman memo as the example. So the other example, so there's a couple of things about that. So you've heard the story about the whole Eastman memo thing, right?
I think I've heard you talk about it a few times, but give me a breakdown exactly of what it is.
So because there was all the suspected funny business at the time, there was basically Trump allowed a second slate of electors for some of the states that were suspect, alternate slates of electors. And the idea was that they were going to bring up both slates of electors here, and then it would... The thing is, technically, right? So I do actually have to bring up a bit of law here. There is a law on the books. It's the Electoral Count Act. It was from the 1880s. I think it was 1884. And it actually was saying that only the states are allowed to certify the results of their own elections. But the issue, and also I was going to bring up that very specifically, because that's actually its own thing. So I actually have to go into why that's suspect. The memo suggests...
I do know that there have been alternate forms of electors in the past. I believe they did it right before the Civil War, and I do know they did it after the election of George Bush with Florida. I think it's just standard practice for the opposing party to have a alternate set of electors.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So... because of the whole nonsense with regards to... So here's the thing. The Electoral Count Act itself was supposedly done in response to the election of 1876, which is a very, very shady election in U.S. history. Because, well, we actually have proof of the Democrats doing shady things to try to trick people into voting for their candidate. Things like they had... So this, keep in mind, this is right after the Civil War. So they had back then for...
Tilden. Okay.
Yeah, so for Tilden, the I believe it was Tilden. So for the candidate that was for the Democrat Party,
I'm on a live
they would
stream.
have a logo. They would have a emblem or symbol that's supposed to represent the party.
Talking to people.
Yeah. So they were supposed to have a symbol that was supposed to represent the party. So here, let me actually see if I have it. I have it here for one of the old videos. Yeah, here it is. So I'll try just uploading it to the... I guess I'll upload it here just so you guys can actually see it. We'll get rid of this afterwards or something. Some of the old... Here, let me just get this squared away. Sorry. There. Now I'll find it and then I'll just send it to you. Here we go. So let me know if you have any trouble with this image becoming visible or whatnot, or just click on the link and you'll be able to see it. Here it is. So here's what they did.
You saying that through Discord?
Yeah, I sent that through Discord. You'll be able to see it right here on the event announcements here. So yeah, the
gotcha.
Tilden thing. To make allowances for widespread illiteracy in the 19th century, Democrats were portrayed on the ballot with their mascot, a cockerel, while Republicans used a picture of Abraham Lincoln. But in 1876, the Democrats printed ballots with Tilden's name alongside Lincoln's face. So
I do like how it says pregnant chads.
What?
In that picture you sent me, it says it was neither pregnant chads nor butterfly ballots.
That's
I'm
not
just
the one
thinking
I sent you.
Chad face.
That's not the one I sent you. It's on the event announcements thing.
Okay.
But yeah, there.
That's the one that pops up.
Oh no, that's the non-highlighted part of the paper you're referencing. That's referencing some more modern stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, that's what this is in reference. So yeah, the point is, so the Democrats actually engaged in some shady stuff to try to win that. They also had a governor in one state replace a Republican elector with a Democrat elector to vote for Tilden, which might not sound like that big of a deal until you realize that this was an election that was determined by one electoral vote.
Were black people allowed to vote in that election?
By this point, the
It was after the Civil War.
Yeah, this is after the Civil War.
So just to make it clear to people, in this picture it says that in 1876, the Democrats printed ballots with Tilden's name, who was a Democrat, alongside Lincoln's face.
Yep.
So a lot of illiterate blacks would have looked at Lincoln and marked next to Tilden's name.
Yep. That's exactly
Democrats
what they
taking advantage of minorities for voting purposes. Say it ain't so.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So
the
yeah,
more
that's
things change, the more they stay the same.
That's something they actually did. And then there was the bit with the governor that I told you about too. So there was actual legitimate corruption involved with this. So this caused another constitutional crisis on its own, and eventually led to the end of the so-called Reformation era. But here's the thing: about a decade or so, or about 8 years later or so, I think in 1884. Let me just double check that. The Democrats, the people that did the corruption, passed the Electoral Count Act, saying that only the states themselves are allowed to certify their own elections, their own electoral counts, the slate of electors and all that. You know,
was Dev's point that Trump was trying to certify election results in place of the states?
Yes, because okay, so it's the Electoral Count Act of 1887, I guess it is. All right, so that sounds about right. So, but here's why this story is important, why this background's important. The people that did the corruption were the ones that made the law to supposedly prevent another 1876 situation. Ooh. And because of the way that they wrote it, with the states being the sole authority on the legitimacy of their own election processes, well, that kind of legitimizes election fraud at that point, wouldn't it? If you had a law that, say, flat out prevented black people from voting in the 19th century in the Democrat states, well, the Democrats are those states are the ones to certify their own elections. You can't say that that's illegitimate according to this Count Act, correct?
Jesus.
And wouldn't you know it? Would you like to guess the year when Democrat states in the Deep South started passing laws preventing black people from voting in elections?
Well, let me guess. 1877?
1888. The year after the Electoral Count Act was passed was the year they made it. They basically legitimized the process and basically legitimized Jim Crow at the ballot box.
At least they waited a decade, I suppose,
well,
before they revealed their hand.
That's because they lost the 1876 election, and they kept. It was actually a pretty dark time for Democrats, anyways, even with all the funny business they were doing. And so it wasn't really till 1886 that they had the power in Congress and the presidency and whatnot to be able to try passing a law like that. So, but I want you to think about that. If it appears that this law was made to...
Was it a bipartisan bill? Like, did they, when it was passed, did a bunch of Republicans jump on with it? Or was it, sponsored by anybody?
I think it was, if I remember, it was sponsored, if I remember correctly, by the Democrats themselves. And, you probably did have at least a few Republicans voting for it because the law in theory was meant to prevent questionable behavior, but what it did in practice was make it so that it was the states themselves that were the sole authority on the electoral process. And then the exact same Democrats, the very next year, managed to pass laws saying that black people aren't allowed to vote, basically. And this is what legitimized that, at least as far as the legal process is concerned. So,
such as literacy laws and all this crap going on.
When you consider that this law appears to have been made to enable that, that would mean that this law could be considered a piece of Jim Crow legislation then, wouldn't it?
It would.
So, yeah. So Dev's entire argument rests on him trying to defend what appears to be a piece of Jim Crow legislation. Because his entire argument is built upon you're not allowed to question the Electoral Count Act of 1887. It is completely constitutional.
I guess that's kind of like a philosophical question at that point, because it's like a lot of the Jim Crow laws are completely gone now. If you want to consider that, if you want to consider that a piece of Jim Crow law, reading it word for word based on modern judicial readings of the law, would you consider it Jim Crow, preventing people from voting nowadays?
Mm-hmm.
I would contend this is completely in line with Dev's modes of thinking, because it was decided on by experts. The experts said that people who are not literate shouldn't vote, Ace, so it's perfectly in line. Makes perfect sense.
Oh, yeah. So, needless to say, that was going to be one of the things I was really going to hammer Dev on about, because I think that's just a point. Abner says, just got here, where's Dev? Well, funny you should mention that. Dev claimed...
I am Dev for the day.
Dev claimed to be going shopping, but then we found out he's actually in the comments on one of Mahler's videos, so he is not, in fact, shopping. He's just... Oh, here it is.
He's watching the live stream right now.
TLDR, I have an obsessed A-logger who's been trying to get my attention for 2 years, and his fans are pissed I won't talk to him. Well, you're the one, Dev, that said you were open to debate with all your haters. So that kind of sets you up for that kind of responsibility. Especially when you argue that your haters are cowards for not showing up to that particular stream on a third-party channel that you barely advertised exclusively because the individuals in question that would have come otherwise happened to be at work. Don't you see? Don't you see? Being in a prison surrounded by inmates is safer than daring to debate Dev.
What the hell is an A-logger, by the way?
I guess that's what he calls me.
It's an old internet term.
Because he's just like referring to you as if you guys hadn't been friends for years.
Yeah, that's the thing. We were actually on reasonably good terms for years. Heck, he even commented on one of the old videos from back in the day talking about the... Oh yeah, and that was another thing I was going to talk about with regards to Dev, the whole everything is political nonsense. Because he used to understand the whole everything political nonsense as well. Nonsense. But now he seems to take up the position that it is... he's actually taken up the position since that Anita Sarkeesian is right about everything being political. So, yeah. Boo Boo says, Dev is admitting he's a lolcow. Just ignore the Robert Byrd, former Grand Dragon, was a dim until the day he died, lol. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I got another example I could bring up that's way more recent, just to show. So, you know how everyone likes to talk about how, the party's flipped and all that nonsense?
Yeah. I would like to point out one comment. I think it was another Texan Bull here. Yeah, another Texan Bull.
Okay.
He points out the first black senator was elected in 1870, and his name is Harlem Revels, and he was a Republican.
Yep.
How long do you think it took for the first Democrat black senator?
Took a good long while, I'm sure. Probably 1950s or something, at least, I would say.
1992.
Holy shit.
122 years.
Yeah.
Yes, the party's flipped. It took 122 years.
So I got an example showing how late this party flip supposedly occurred that even goes beyond that. So, are you familiar with the story of the so-called Cherokee Freedmen?
Cherokee Freedmen.
Yeah, Cherokee Freedmen.
So these were people that were Cherokee and were slaves?
They were black slaves within the Cherokee Nation.
Right. They were not freed until a year after the Civil War or something.
Yeah, they were. They were. Yeah, because all of the 5 civilized tribes sided with the Confederacy more or less during the Civil War. There were still Unionists within the tribes, of course, and you basically had many civil wars within them.
Was that the 5 Nations?
Yes.
It is like a common... I'm not going to say it's a rumor, but it's a common speculation that Benjamin Franklin based part of the Confederation or the Constitution on the 5 Nations.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that is the story I've heard, too. Well, it was... So he actually based it on, if I remember correctly, the Iroquois specifically. This would be technically different. I believe it was the Cherokee, the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, and there was 2 others. I forget.
Yeah.
Wasn't one like Wasatch or something?
Maybe. But here's why I'm getting to this, right? So you have the Cherokee Freedmen. So here's the thing: the Cherokee actually much later on, I think it was the 1980s, rewrote their constitution to explicitly deny Cherokee freedmen citizenship and the right to vote. Now, the Cherokee Nation is a Democrat voting population. It is to this day, and it has been a strong Democrat voting population. It took the U.S. Supreme Court, if I remember correctly, to get the Cherokee freedmen both citizenship and the right to vote. You want to know when that happened?
2005?
2017. Donald Trump was president. Even back when Donald Trump was president, there was still a group of black people that the Democrats were denying both citizenship and the right to vote.
They're saying Trump freed the slaves? I'm
not saying that. What I am saying is that this idea that this party's flipped is completely bullshit, because the Democrats were still doing that up to 2017. And the thing is, this actually The media, of course, buried the fuck out of this story because it is beyond the pale. The fact that we have a group of black people that are descendants from hundreds of years now. Their descendants have been in the Cherokee Nation. They were still being denied both citizenship and the right to vote.
Yeah, you were. So I did look it up. It's I was thinking of the Iroquois League, which is now called the 6 Nations. They were 5 nations.
Yeah.
And you're talking about the 5 civilized tribes.
Yep.
Which is the Cherokee, the Chickasaw, the Choctaw, the Muskie, and the Samoans. Samoas.
Did Dev ever show up? Well, he did show up on Mahler's stream, but he didn't show up here. He had to go shopping, which is why he went on Mahler's stream instead of this one. Oh, man. But yeah, the whole point of the Democrats no, they didn't flip sides at all. I mean...
No, they're still on that same side. The way they talk about a lot of... I mean, just look at, like, their modern politics. They think black people are too stupid to get into college, so they have to lower the standards so that it's fair.
Oh, there is that. The other example I would mention, did you hear the story about what they did with Dungeons and Dragons, what what Wizards of the Coast did there?
Yeah, orcs are black people.
Yeah, but
apparently.
If that is synonymous, but what they're saying, but you could actually flip it around, it still means the same. If one equals the other, then you can flip the two around. So what they're saying is black people are all orcs from D&D, and it resulted in Wizards of the Coast having to change the definition of the orcs within the lore of D&D as a result, because the left was
Yeah. They tried to get rid of race entirely.
Yeah, they did try that, but yeah. So the sheer fact.
Yeah, no role playing for you, unfortunately. Also,
it's like how everyone.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. It's like the same thing. Like anyone who looks at a goblin and thinks a Jewish man, the fact that was the first thing that came to your mind probably says more about you than it does about goblins.
Or the Skaven. The fact they thought the Skaven were a racist depiction of Jewish people because the Nazis historically depicted Jewish people as rodents. Therefore, the progressive mind immediately thinks
it's a Starship Troopers all over again.
Let me see here. The ninth person man says, Ace, legit question, will donate. But is this something that's overblown and Friedman had the right to vote for all intents? Like, No, they didn't. So I'm pretty sure from what I read, they did not have the right to. Well, okay, so there is. So I actually have to go a little bit more in detail, I suppose, to provide a more detailed explanation. So the way that Cherokee freemen were determined was partially by their ancestry, but this leads to the question of what happens if you have, for example, a history where a slave owner fooled around in the Cherokee Nation, fooled around with the slave. Is the slave a descendant of the Cherokee man, or which takes precedence? Well, the Cherokee actually have an answer for that, because theirs is more of a matrilineal ancestry society. So if you had a case where a male Cherokee hooked up with a female Cherokee slave, then technically the child would be of the female's ancestry. And it also meant that also because the way that ownership existed in the Cherokee Nation, you couldn't just free your own slaves in the Cherokee Nation. You had to get permission from the tribe to do it at large. So technically, you could even argue that the Cherokee Nation had even more strict laws when it came to slavery, or was more a slightly harsher form of slavery than the Confederacy itself, because at least in the Confederacy, you could free your own slaves on your own. You didn't have to get permission from the government itself to do it. Which is a wild thing to say, but that's the thing there. But as far as Cherokee citizenship, yeah, that was denied, which means the right to vote would be denied as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of history behind it. It's like, oh my God. I always, it's always wild when people are like, every Native American tribe in America was like innocent. Like, dude, look up the history of the Apache and the Comanche.
Mm.
The Comanche joined the United States Army specifically because the Apache were running around and scalping everybody, and they did everything in their power to bring down a fellow tribe.
Well, there is also so the other one, the Pawnee Scouts are another really really good example too, because the Lakota were basically genociding the Pawnee. So the Pawnee Scouts team were a thing where the Pawnee teamed up with the U.S. In fact, there's a story where in the case of the Pawnee, they actually, if I remember correctly, willingly went to the reservation because otherwise they would have been wiped out to the last man by their neighbors. It was that brutal. Yeah. In fact, if I remember correctly, I've also heard something about it was such a... They were known also for enslaving the Pawnee to such a degree that the name Pawnee actually became a byword for slave at some point, too, if I remember correctly.
Now, Ace, you have heard of the Navajo code talkers, right?
Yes, I have.
From World War II. Did you know that the Army had the Comanche code talkers?
I did not know that, but it also makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me... Sorry.
The Comanche currently have around 17,000 members, and they have a long, long history of serving within the United States Army. And they're still on Fort Sill, a building named after the Comanche Code Talkers, and I think that's their intelligence training center over there.
Mm.
I mean, the entire reason they're so effective brings up the interesting historical connection where it's like there was actually almost no written languages for most of these native languages, or no written form of it, which makes it really hard to actually go through native history and determine if any of these grievances that are constantly brought up are in any way substantial, because they might have just taken the land from someone else 10 years ago. We don't know. They don't have it written down anywhere.
The ninth person donates $10 saying, sorry, was cooking. Thanks for answering. That's okay, man. That's okay. Thank you for being on the stream and thank you for donating. Really, guys.
By the way, I just looked this up. One of the most famous Marines of all time, Ira Hayes.
Yep.
He is from the Gala River Indian community.
Yeah.
Guess where that is?
Where would that be?
Maricopa County, Arizona.
Oh, the irony.
There's some other kind of code going on over there, but I'm not sure we have anyone there to break it. It seems to be going as planned.
No, that's still a mystery for the ages.
For what it's worth, I have heard... Now, it doesn't have to be, since we were talking about language coding and all that, there are cases of unwritten languages, or of languages that were written that were still used in the U.S. military as well during World War II. For example, you've heard of the 442, right? The Japanese American... the 442 regiment, the Japanese American regiment.
Oh, that... No, I actually have not.
Yeah, it was a...
I guess it makes sense that there would be an all-Asian regiment.
Yeah, well, all Japanese specifically, or Japanese American, technically. But they were... One of the things they were known for doing when they were fighting in France and Italy is, since the Germans were trying to intercept radio transmissions and whatnot, they just started speaking Japanese, and none of the Germans knew what the fuck they were saying.
Oh, that's funny.
Which is especially ironic considering, the actual...
They were allied.
Japan was, yeah.
They had no way of understanding their own allies' language.
one of like 5 useful things for multiculturalism. You can just confuse everyone with your 500 different languages.
You know,
Yeah, that's true,
Switch.
but you can also end up where that backfiring. There's also a story from the Austrian Empire during the Age of Lion Battles, where they actually ended up fighting themselves when they were going to war against the Ottomans, because you had all these regiments that didn't know what each other said. They couldn't understand each other's language, so they all thought it was the Ottomans attacking at night, and so they had a massive battle amongst themselves and defeated their own army.
I think their Balkan nature just took over, and they just started fighting whoever had a slightly different skin color.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
yeah. And yeah, ninth person, the word Comanche basically was just synonymous with enemy. The Comanche tribe is the one that you probably always see, like the headdresses with like the feathers on those, where like each feather represents like a different way that they killed somebody. Yeah, that's where that stereotypical like depiction of Native Americans comes from.
The headdress.
Italian Isaac Clark says, I say this with no malice, but from what I've seen about North, Central, and South Americas, people were all between the Stone and Bronze Age. History dies with bloodlines there.
Well,
I mean,
I got something I gotta say about that specifically, because this is something that a lot of people don't quite understand. If you look at like the history of development and technology, for example, right? You have to remember that a big part of having any type of technology level worth a damn is that you have to have a good travel system and being able to have good trade networks. The problems with the Americas in general is that they lacked basically every single kind of animal that you would actually need. They didn't have horses, they didn't have cows, they didn't have like the best that the South Americans had is they had llamas, and the best the North Americans had was reindeer, which is a very small part of like Canada and the Northwest.
yep.
So they were kind of screwed to begin with. There was the possibility that you could take buffalo and turn them into America's cow, but buffalo have a completely different disposition compared to cattle and bulls. So you wouldn't have like large carts load of people. It's actually a technological marvel at all that the Aztecs were able to build a city as large as they did with the lack of infrastructure and transportation that they had.
This is very true, yeah.
Yeah. Once they brought in horses, that changed everything for the Native Americans. But by then, they were about 500 years behind technologically.
I would say closer to 1500 in some cases.
Yeah, in some cases. There were a lot of...
there
they
were
didn't have
some
iron in many places. No, you're
there
good.
were some fairly advanced civilizations, especially along the southwestern coast. There was some fairly advanced places that have pretty big cities. There were some places in South America, but by the time we came around, they were mostly gone. Or like,
I know.
Also, sorry if it's loud here.
You're all right. I know for a while. One of the largest cities.
The Mayans had both collapsed by then.
The one example
was yeah, no, you're good. The Olmecs were more south of where the Aztecs eventually popped up, and the Mayans were in that same general region. I think actually some of the Mayan tribes actually allied with Cortez.
Yeah,
but I don't quote me on that.
There was a lot of disparate tribes who were not happy with the Aztecs who joined up.
I wonder why.
Yeah, no, that reminds me of a funny moment I had.
It's like the same thing with the. Sorry, I mistook the Comanche for the Apache earlier. The Apache were the ones that would be synonymous with enemy, but the Comanche were the ones who fought against the Apache. The Apaches are the ones with the stereotypical headdress.
Well, I do know.
But yeah, same thing. The Comanche joined the United States military, gave up their lifestyle, specifically because they hated the Apache that much.
All right, we actually have Aiden Paladin in the chat as well. So, yeah, people are definitely showing up. Yeah, the one person that didn't show up for this was Dev, who is busy chatting on Mauler's channel as well as apparently going shopping while Dave ends up actually doing the stream for Dev's channel, so, you know. But anyways, so one example I was going to bring up as well of civilizations.
Yeah,
well, the big one I was thinking of was, of course, Cahokia, the city of Cahokia, if you've heard of it.
Sounds vaguely familiar.
I believe it's basically where modern-day St. Louis is. And this city was actually, supposedly, from what I've heard, for a while from... Now, it actually just was no longer a populated city and abandoned by the time the Europeans arrived. But from what they've seen from archaeological digs and whatnot, it appears to have actually, at its peak, was rivaling Constantinople at the time. So it was not a small city at all. And it's yet another case of...
Are we talking about size or population?
I believe
like
I've heard...
Square miles?
I would assume it was population, but what I heard was that it actually in some ways rivaled Constantinople in certain regards. So it was a massive city, and it did. I believe it would have probably just been abandoned due to climate reasons and whatnot, because some of the places just no longer become sustainable over time, you know, or whatever they were doing. A Stone Age, yeah, kind of.
St. Louis.
Yeah, it would have been modern-day St. Louis, Missouri. Cahokia, let me spell it out for you guys in the chat. There you are. So that was the name of the... In Mississippi, culture flourished around up to 1200 CE near modern-day St. Louis. Population of 20,000 at the time, which for the era... and especially considering the logistical requirements to sustain a population like that, is very impressive.
Oh, it was... Okay, it had a population of about 15 to 20,000 people, it says.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad place for a city, honestly.
Yeah.
I actually honestly agree with Trump in one... Well, I agree with him on a lot of stuff, but there are a lot of places where it would be absolutely perfect to build a city, and we just never did for one reason or another.
Yeah.
I don't want us to get into the China thing, though, where we're like, oh, this is a place where we can put a bunch of structures, and then no one actually wants to live there.
Yeah,
I don't
want that either.
We kind of had that to a miniature degree with those mini malls that were getting placed around back in the 90s that were just out in the middle of nowhere that nobody went to.
Anything seems like a good idea if you have enough cocaine.
Yeah.
It's a lot of those business decisions.
And you want to launder
90s.
a bunch of money.
Yeah.
I guarantee you anything, just like China, like building those giant cities, that money is going into somebody else's pocket.
Mm-hmm.
It's all like speculative investment mumbo jumbo, where they're like, oh, we're getting 24% increase in our steel production. Who cares if it's actually being used or it's going to turn a profit? It's just like numbers on a board they can brag about to someone to trick them.
We wasted 20% of our steel production on something that rusted into the ground.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it was nice to talk to you guys. I have to go, so I apologize if I'm interrupting anything, but I just want to say Dev is a coward, last off, and he totally ran away from this, and he's kidding himself, and it's not worth talking to him, even if he did come on at this point. So, yeah.
Hey, that's the point that I was going for.
I mean, I would argue it still kind of is, if only to really hammer it home in his case. But let's be honest, Dev is not going to do that because he knows exactly what will happen to his channel if he actually ends up going to do one of these debates for real. Not go on to Wick's channel and have Wick do whatever it was done to basically turn it into a bunch of softballs.
Yeah, hug box session where lefties came on to be like, "What? Hey, Dev, why aren't you leftist enough?" But I do have to go. It was nice to talk to you guys. So have a nice day.
Oh yeah. I think I've heard of you before, Aiden Paladin.
Yeah, I've heard of. I know a little bit of Aiden Paladin as well. So, Ninth Person Man says, Def do some research on the population capacity of the Americas. It's actually insane considering corn, chestnuts, and potatoes, for instance. Well, yeah, but you have to. Corn and potatoes in particular are pretty good crops for sustaining people for a sizable time, if it's done correctly, of course. And you also, for what one thing I will praise the Aztecs for is the floating islands thing that they were doing with regards to doing their crops. That was pretty impressive, I will have to say. Because it basically...
God, frickin'. The Gallo River Indian community, the one that Ira Hayes is from, they were known for their terraced farms. That technology was basically all lost when the territory was taken over by the United States. I mean, you can make the argument that, yes, the United States did destroy a bunch of culture and technology when they came through, but at the same time, pretending that every native tribe was completely innocent is absolutely ridiculous. Have you ever heard of the Dollop?
The name sounds vaguely familiar, but not really in the capacity, I don't think, of what we're discussing.
Yeah, no, but there was an episode of the Dollop that he did where he talked about native tribes.
Actually, now that I think about it, there is another thing I will say about food production that that the natives actually nailed. And they created an emergency food that lasts in a way that compares to hardtack. And they did it before hardtack was actually a thing. So they actually created the first emergency food, which was pemmican.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so, which is wild because you think the Romans had hardtack back in the day, but yeah, they actually did create pemmican before that, believe it or not. So anyway, good night, Ace. Nice to know that the commie did get cucked after all. He did it to himself. There's only, you could argue, you could try to make an argument, I suppose, in his case, that if he had just went shopping, he would still be caught big time because of the nonsense, because I made it very plain that he actually had access, that he knew about the stream. But the fact that he showed up on Mahler's stream and was in Mahler's chat, thinking he was just going to hide and nobody was going to notice, really did him more trouble. But yeah, so anyways.
Eric Shadowblade says forms of pemmican was used in Stone Age Europe as well. I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised.
The only thing I know about pemmican is that it's a foodstuff in RimWorld.
So what it is it's basically meat that's been dried to this consistency of, say, beef jerky, and then is mixed equal parts with animal fat, specifically suet, which is a very, very rich animal fat in particular. I think it comes... Let me see where it comes from exactly. But they would mix it with suet and have it harden up. Sometimes they would also mix in some berries and nuts to add some more flavor. So it's hard fat found around the kidneys and loins of cattle and sheep. But you could actually get suet from all kinds of stuff. You could get suet from ducks. You could get suet from deer. The most common thing they were using was buffalo during the golden age of pemmican. And the meat could be any meat, really. These days, pemmican is actually still easily found, but these days it's typically found as bird food, is what you'll typically see it. So you see those little cakes of whitish stuff that's bird food?
Yeah.
That's pemmican, basically.
Delicious.
Hayes, thoughts on them all? I tried to join her Discord when I found out her racism shtick isn't a shtick. She's actual racist VTuber surprised me the year. Maybe we should ask her if she's voting for Biden next year or next election or something. That guy says Dev is shopping for clips he can misrepresent and take out of context. I wouldn't. Yeah. What's funny is he tries to claim that I take him out of context all the time. Durana says that's not pemmican, that's suet. Yeah, well, a lot of times they'll add berries in with that suet. And probably some meats. I wouldn't be surprised. But pemmican really is just suet and meat alongside occasionally some types of berries added in. Anyways, just got here, Dev debate stream. It was going to be, but Dev failed to show up, Artemis. Sorry for that, but yeah, he decided A, that he was going to go shopping, and B, that while he was shopping, or what he says is shopping, he was going to go on Mahler's stream and be on the chat there. So, yeah, that did not... I don't think this is going too well for Dev right now. So...
Yeah. Arch and Sargon have been calling out Dev. So, for me, what I do is I watch a lot of political videos. I have a YouTube channel. I only got like 50 subscribers on there, and I kind of gave up on YouTube, but I might try again. And on Twitter, I got about 1,000 subscribers. What I do is I'll listen to like political videos. I got like an entire list of like dozens of channels that I would like pull from, and then I organize them in like priority of which ones. Like, for example, I got you on there, and I got like Arch and a bunch of other people I listen to. And then I'll play it at a higher speed so I can get caught up on what's going on in current events, and then I'll base my videos on that. So for like 4 months, I fell out of politics for a little bit because it was becoming... We had won the election, and things were just getting stupider, despite the fact that, everything was supposed to be better at this point. So I just kind of fell out of it. I started watching, like, Pokemon videos, like, videos on One Piece, Naruto, and a bunch of other stuff. Then the Charlie Kirk assassination happened about 2 months ago. And I made a video on that, and then I went back to just watching regular stuff, and I'm finally getting back in the politics. I've been watching, and I've hit the, like, right after, like, a week after the Charlie Kirk incident is where I am in my video list. And I remember specifically there was a video that Arch did, and he calls out Dev for, like, some insane take on the assassination. I can't exactly remember what it was. But yeah, they have been busting his balls lately.
Yeah, they have. As well they should. I think... I don't want to put Arch on the spot, because I know he wants to genuinely remain neutral on this whole thing, but I think he is starting to just be done with Dev at this point.
The thing is, for Arch, I'm a big fan of him because I've been watching him a long time. He got totally screwed by a lot of people. That includes basically everyone who worked on If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device. And he's so cool with, like, that. Like, he talks really nice about those guys, but there are some people within that group that really didn't like him, and they did everything in their power to cancel him. Dev was one of the people who stood behind him and if Arch has any flaw, is that he has a very strong loyalty to people who defended him, but he ignores any flaws that they have.
I honestly think it's getting too big for Arch to actually ignore anymore, but he does. I think ultimately he does want Dev to actually snap out of his insanity. Now, and is trying to get Dev to stop being such a nutcase. Now, my position on that is been basically if Arch somehow by some miracle manages to pull it off, then awesome work. I think I've pretty much burned the bridge with Dev anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me if that much either way. But what I will say is if he pulls it off, then awesome, but I honestly just don't see it happening, is the thing.
I mean, if the Charlie Kirk assassination didn't do it, I don't see what is. I guess I got a antidote that I can share if you want.
All right. Let me get some chat here, Red. Artemis donates $10 saying, picking boulders on Mauler's stream. Odd, I'm sure Dev would want to expose you if he was available, given he alluded to Sargon and Arch not wanting to debate lefties. Yeah, funny how that works. Thank you for the $10. And I also saw Aiden said, from Mauler's chat, Dev, I didn't agree to debate Ace. I would not agree to talk to an unhinged stalker, but you are no stranger to lying in public. So here's the thing. The problem that Dev faces with that position is that he went on a supposedly open air debate for absolutely everyone to talk to him on. And when I failed to show up, he said, it's an open debate. He could have come. And he's a coward for not. Well, at that point, you've kind of opened up the floodgates to me just saying, okay, well, here's your debate. Here's me challenging you to a debate. Here's the stream. Here's the time that you're supposed to be there since you claim that you're actually open for debate. So he's immediately flip-flopped on that. And I'm going to see if I can find the actual comment from the Wick TV stream here real quick. Hold on a sec while I do that. And then we can...
I don't think he knows what the definition of a stalker is.
Like, yeah, I don't think he quite does.
Because what you doing?
I am criticizing his work constantly.
Yeah. So, how to get into this? Dev is he has made himself into a public figure. He has got a huge YouTube channel, huge, quote unquote. I mean, way bigger than mine, that's for sure. But he has made himself a public figure. He has a huge audience. He talks to his audience and spreads legitimate, misinformation. And in the political sphere, when we're talking back and forth, if you make a point and someone disagrees with that point, you have the right to answer and debunk it, basically. And we have to reach out to people, and it's not necessarily about Dev himself, but it's about his audience. Because if he misleads his audience in such a way that he helps radicalize them, it is up to guys like us to talk to those people and de-radicalize them and show them a different point of view.
All right, so I found out where I saw the exact thing. I'm going to, what's weird is it's actually hiding Dev's comment from me on his own stream, or on the actual thing, but you can still see that he
have you blocked.
He definitely does, but it shouldn't make it so that I can't see his stuff, so that's weird. So I'm going to provide this comment here for you guys to actually see, because you can see that he was explicitly asked on this. So it's not on it is the Wick TV debate, but it's not on Wick TV's channel. It's the re-upload on Dev's own channel, which he did do the re-upload on. So I'm going to...
People are mentioning that Dev and V no longer get along. Yeah, anytime Dev showed up on Arch's stream, V ducked out as fast as possible. I remember it was like 6 months ago. Like, they were arguing, V left, then as soon as Dev left, like 10 minutes later, V came back into the chat. He's like, is he gone?
All right, so I do have the comment thread here. So it's from Jen Fidel asked, was Ace invited to this? If not, why? So was he one of the ones who didn't show up, or did I just miss? Timestamps. Ace saw it on Twitter, even if he pretends he didn't. Saw his fans bring it to him, and we both know he follows Dev. It's a shame. Don't agree much with Ace, but I know he has a lot of criticisms. Guess he wasn't willing to present them directly. I was just at work. The fact that I'm here right now on the stream. The fact that I'm here right now on the stream, and Dev is the one that refused to show up, and then say that, oh, he would never speak to me anyways, really defeats the whole point of his little open-air debate, or the arguments he was going to make from that, doesn't it? Let me see if I can actually even find that bit from the Mauler stream.
Mysterious Ali, excuse me, I probably butchered that last. Dev was on side-scrollers? I didn't know that. Oh, not Arch, freaking Ace. If you're unaware, I was actually the one who originally talked to Stuttering Craig and suggested that they get Arch on side-scrollers.
All right.
I was one of the people that helped facilitate that.
All right. Well, yeah, I can't find the comment from Dev saying they would never, but that is interesting. I don't really follow too much on the whole. I don't follow that many commenters, to be honest, but I do follow some of them, and for a while, Dev was one of them. Is the thing. Arch brought him on a few times to side scrollers. What is your Discord? Oh, I can provide the link to. I'll provide the link to that as soon as the stream is over for everyone.
That makes sense that he was a hanger-on for Arch. Yeah, I helped get on. I made I didn't help get him on, but I suggested to Stuttering Craig. You can actually DM Stuttering Craig. I grew up with watching that guy when he was doing top 10 videos. I suggested he get on Arch, and I suggested he get on Ross Scott. Now, Ross Scott did say that, you know who Ross Scott is, right?
Ross
From
Scott,
Cursed Farms.
Not really.
He was the one who did. He's the one who did the Stop Killing Games campaign.
Ah, okay, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. Ross Scott, he was the one who made Freeman's Mind. He made Civil Protection, and he does Ross's Game Dungeon, where he reviews games, kind of like a city protection kind of thing. Really good YouTuber, absolutely brilliant. Anyways, he did the Stop Killing Games campaign, and I suggested that Stuttering Craig get him on, and it took a while. They eventually did get him on. Unfortunately, he didn't get much of a boost from it. It took, what was that? Pirate Software video to come out. Where Pirate Software tried to destroy the entire campaign, and eventually Ross Scott had to come out and make a video on it. And that's what blew up the Stop Killing Games campaign and made it mainstream.
Yeah, so another case of the Streisand effect in action, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Alright, so let's see. So did you ever see the golden little tweet thread that I have? Some of the most damning evidence I have on Dev. It's one that I've actually shown around to a lot of people, but...
Yeah, Pirate Software's nemesis.
Well, here. So...
go ahead, show me.
This is from back when, with regards to the whole Jan 6 thing and all that. And then and also the Hunter Biden laptop story, which... it's a classic case of Dev double standards here, and this is one of the most damning.
This January? Last January?
It was from January 2024. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. This one has been around for a minute.
Yeah.
Dev derangement syndrome. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know.
And he says he was never pro lockdown. This post from the account no longer exists. Oh, Jesus Christ. As I recall...
Yeah, but then the big one is, when I pointed out to an older thread where he says, no, my argument is that the attempt to mess with the election failed, so the election is still legitimate. And he's talking about the FBI basically priming all the social media companies to censor the Hunter Biden laptop story.
Oh, yeah. That was actually one of the videos. Was it WDW Pro, I think, came out? And YouTube had to come out and admit that they had been told by the Biden administration to delete accounts from YouTube.
Yeah.
And they are now starting to restore them.
Hold on. Let me see. Something appears to happen
They
with
haven't
the
restored
stream. Let me make sure.
Computing Forever came back recently.
What just happened? Okay, we're good. Okay. So just thing just refreshed itself. All right, fine. So yeah, but the point is he was point with this little thread here is he's defending the FBI and he even went on to say the court has indeed found the FBI overstepped its authority in dealings with Twitter, committing election manipulation by suppressing stories to help Biden win. And then so I said to him, so then the question becomes, why are you defending the Biden presidency with whataboutism fallacies, especially when you yourself admit the whataboutism in question is also something the Biden camp has done on top of other evil stuff? Because when Biden does something good, I'm going to call it good.
Hunter is still not in jail, is he?
I don't think he is, unfortunately.
I don't think he served any prison time.
And don't even get me started on the state of commissary in the prison system. Holy shit.
The commissary? What about the commissary?
So, all right. So, commissary is where they. They buy.
I know what a commissary is.
Yeah. So,
because
thing
military.
Yeah. Well, when in the prison, the inmates can buy shit. The kinds of shit they can buy include things like a VR headset with games pre-installed. So you get in prison for the rest of your life, and you get to sit in your cell all day playing VR instead of actually working for a living. Just, admittedly, that's if you're on the good behavior side of it, and there are other limitations, like the VR headset has to be see-through, so because you have to make sure they didn't fuck with the wiring inside or anything, because they'll do shit like trying to take electronic wiring out to smoke coffee and stuff like that. That's a really common thing we find.
That's a fire hazard. I thought you were going to say they try to choke people to death with the wiring.
I mean, they could, but they already got blankets and stuff like that to do that with. Are
you mid security? High security?
Well, we have a max block, but I would say we're probably mid security, if anything.
So you got all the stabbers and the.
So I've got everything.
We've
got everything from. We got everything from dude was a drunk driver, or something, or dude was a thief, or dude was a drug dealer, to dude was arrested for possessing terabytes of CP, which he starred in.
Okay.
And also had footage of dogs and shit like that he also starred in too. As well
Mr. Hands.
as well as cop killers and stuff like that. There's So we really do have the gamut. You
get that Mr. Hands reference, by the way, you're a real one.
So some of the guys that are in there, admittedly, hell, I would even say there's guys in there where you can actually see where they're coming from the crime they did. Like, there was one guy that we had for a while, got 60 years because he killed a child molester who had raped the guy's girlfriend back when she was 14. And so when he and his girlfriend grew up and became adults, they tracked the dude down. He's got a previous history from what I understand, and they killed him. So the dude gets 60 years for that, but the child molester was out on the streets for that to happen in the first fucking place. That's bullshit. But that's none of my business, I suppose.
Yeah, that was the one dude in Florida who shot the guy in the airport.
Yeah, and he got community service for it, and that's the example that I always go for. Gary Pluchet got community service. This kid who has never committed a crime prior gets 60 years. And the crime, let's be honest, the dude that he shot shouldn't have been out on the streets in the first fucking place.
Yeah, there are people in the chat that know who Mr. Hands is.
That
is the... If you're not aware, that is the dude that died having sex with a equine a few years back.
So he's a Vosh supporter. Great.
Yeah. And that was the funny thing about Cyberpunk 2077, because one of the main handlers in the game is named Mr. Hands, and everyone was pointing out. It's like, wait a minute. No, Mr. Hands was named before that video game came out. I'm pretty sure he was a fixer in the original board game.
Sorry.
That was a really famous incident, I think, in Washington State, where bestiality was still legal. And it was... I think he was a Boeing engineer, actually.
He was... Yeah. Solon the Lich donates 100 ARS. Thank you very much, saying Biden's Fed State Police strolls by your business to ask nicely to silence the speech that the auto-pin presidency didn't like. Truly a freethinker's position. Well, it's more than that. So, one of the stories about the whole, about the suppression of the Hunter Biden story was prior to that. They actually had a mock drill from the Aspen Institute, I believe it was called, where they basically, all these social media companies were participating. It was a mock, basically a war game more or less of, what do you do if it turns out there is a hack and dump leak by the Russians providing misinformation that happens to involve Hunter Biden? So, really specific. And really specific like that. That's the sort of stuff they were doing.
If they trained for it.
Yeah, and wait, you might think, but the Aspen Institute is an independent organization. Except the guys that are in charge of cybersecurity on there are former FBI agents, high-ranking former FBI agents. Yeah, so it really turns...
It's weird how all these FBI agents end up at, working at Twitter. And it's so strange.
Or this institute that is totally independent, guys, but just so happened to prep everyone a month in advance about the possibility of a hack and dump situation involving Hunter Biden. That's totally misinformation and totally needs to be censored. That's the level
it should. Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be noted that at Twitter, there was, a private group chat I forget what system they used.
Yeah.
Between all the FBI agents.
Mm-hmm.
They had a friend group of former feds. Former in quotation marks.
No audio. What? No audio? Let me check. Is there? Well, there is audio on my end.
I can hear Ace. Let me see.
Yeah, click on the thing and just check. Oh, that's just me. Okay, yeah, okay. I guess it's just you. Yeah, that too. The Twitter files did reveal that. So, yeah.
Oh, I just heard my voice on the stream. Oh, that's ugly.
You're all right. Don't worry. Dev isn't going to show up. Yeah, he didn't show up. He went shopping and then went on Mahler's stream while he was shopping. Just check Dev's pins for my drawing. Okay, let's have a look. I'm very curious.
Yeah, I gotta see this.
But the point I'm getting at is, if the government wanted to do a plausible deniability sort of situation, make it seem like the FBI wasn't directly involved, wouldn't it be convenient to have an institute that was just so happened to be run by former FBI agents actually do the Institute or the little war game there.
You know, it's always a good sign, like, when it...
Okay, I'm gonna...
You gotta show this on the stream.
Alright, here we go. Yep, this is going...
I gotta see this. Yeah, someone says he was on Metal Commanders, which is kind of annoying because I'm the commander. Okay,
there we are, guys. Here it is in its glory. Oh, that is beautiful. And I did provide a quote tweet. Watch the quote tweet. Actually, if this goes... We need this to go viral. We need this to not necessarily go viral, but at least ratio dev again. So he gets mocked for this yet further.
Oh, I gotta go find that. I gotta go share that. I'm sorry, man.
Sure, I got you. No worries. Here. Save and paste. But yes, everyone, that one response, there you go.
I gotta say that, like,
I don't even think Dev will respond to the quote tweet is the thing. I think Dev is going to be doing his best to hide yet again.
I just shared that. It's always a good sign that right before the election, like, a bunch of, like, federal agents were saying that they're going to flee to Europe if Trump wins.
Well, I know Ukraine's looking for volunteers.
Yeah. Dev never actually volunteered to fight in Ukraine. Strange that.
Yeah, I actually even created a petition to conscript him into the Ukrainian military. After he said based shoot morons, some stuff from Ukraine as well. So, full ghost mode, yeah, pretty much.
There was the first real thing that got me into politics was like the Ukrainian war, and I was pretty ignorant. I posted a video at about 1 o'clock today, and I basically talked about that. But that was one thing that really woke me up. And then as time went on, I'm like, oh, this is all bullshit. Because I fell on the side of like Zelensky at the start, and then as time went on, I'm just like, there's a lot of corruption here.
What I will say is my take on the war, my position on the war has been steadfast neutral, and it's for a very simple, straightforward reason, right? It's because I actually know guys from both Ukraine and Russia, and I do not want to see guys from some of the guys that I know end up on drone strike footage. That's really, in my case, that's what it boils down to. I see the war as a massive tragedy that never should have happened in the first place.
It definitely shouldn't have. I fall more on the side of Ukraine, but that's because Russia has been doing this crap for so long. So I got a buddy of mine who lives in Dnipro in Ukraine, and that's like right on the border of like the river between like the area that Russia kind of controls. If they ever got as far as Dnipro, something like horrible had gone wrong. Like if they had gone past that river and taken that city, like the rest of Ukraine probably would have fallen alongside of it. But he's been trying. At first, he was like super patriotic about it, but he can't get drafted because he's got like some kind of like health issues. And now all he wants to do is he wants to leave. Like, as soon as the war ends, he's, like, moving to, like, the Balkans. Because he's just so sick of the whole thing.
Well, I mean, I can't really blame him with the way the war's turned into a massive meat grinder. It's... Well, that was a quick... Wait, it's already ratioed? Holy shit, it is! Oof.
Oof.
Oof, indeed. But yeah, like I said, in my case, like I said, it's because I actually... Part of it is... Well... Like I said, I knew guys from both Ukraine and Russia. It just, in my case, it comes with the territory of being a modder and also talking to guys that are occasionally on game development as well. So, some of the guys, like, the guy that used to be working with Game Labs, I believe. I think I briefly spoke to him because the woke crowd was going after him. And he seems like a pretty good guy in any case. The guy that worked on the Dark mod for the Total War series, made the Ultimate General and Ultimate Admiral games. It's a shame that he left the company because Ultimate Admiral just died with him leaving, it seems. Jerem donates 5, says, is it even worth it to A-Log Dev at this point? The only reason why he's still known is solely because he brings in hate donos. He is a punching bag. Yeah, he is a punching bag, but here's the thing. He is starting to argue stuff that I think is actually worth countering. And
yeah,
for all of his...
That we agree on. I mean, I guess we could also get into it, but go ahead, finish your thought first.
Well, what I was going to say is, because, yeah, he does... And also, since he likes talking a big game about how he's open to debates, like the whole supposed open air debate he had a few days ago, now that he's immediately flip-flopped and says he is not going to debate me in a million years, or whatever he said. But even though he was then pretending, oh yeah, Ace could have totally come on there. But the point I'm getting at is leftists people that are more far left of Dev would never sign on to a debate, period, anyways. But Dev likes to argue that he will. So if you do manage to get him on a debate, you could potentially basically get some of the far-left talking points that he defends now, like him talking about the everything is political and how he thinks that's actually technically true. And I think, I've seen some people say that the everything is political thing is actually... I've seen some people say, okay, we actually lost that argument. I don't actually think that argument is... I don't actually agree. I think not everything is political, and I think there are great ways to counter the notion that everything is political, because that mindset really unravels once you start to analyze it in detail.
Yeah.
It's
also a really dangerous line of thinking in general. Just looking at... when you get to everything is political, then that means that everything is violence in the eyes of the left. Because they see politics and violence often as the exact same thing.
Yeah, that would actually... It does lead to that, but there's more to it, too. Because it's actually...
There is a lot.
In fact, there's something I do actually like bringing up, and I'll bring it up here. The 2 books that I would suggest anyone read, even though they are slogs to get through because they're leftist books, but they're a great example of the leftist dogma and why they are trying to argue the whole everything is political. The first book is called Empire, and there's a second book written by a couple of college professors back in 2000. This book is extremely important to read because not only is it the progenitor of the current everything is political movement, but it's also the people that support it, the far leftists. A lot of them will cite that book as being the Communist Manifesto of the 21st century. So it's as close as you can get to the leftist Bible, at least in the current day. And even the people that aren't calling it the Communist Manifesto of the 21st century, Even then, some of those leftists will still refer to it as the most important piece of political theory from the far left for the entire generation. And Games of Empire basically is another book from a couple of other college professors that took that and applied that thinking to video games. But it's actually really wild that some of the things that that Empire in particular actually argues. For example, it actually has a very... let me see. I'll see. I do have links here, so I'll actually provide you the PDF here.
Where did I see that? Oh. Somebody asked a question here that...
I'm actually going to provide it in the chat. The link.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Crash Mario Sonic says, Ace, would you debate Destiny? That might upset Det if you humiliated his hero and cause him to splurge out.
An interesting thought. I haven't really seen... I've seen some of Destiny's work, but I think I would need to prepare a little bit more for that, but it is definitely an interesting idea, for sure.
See... okay, so I guess I can kind of get into it. There is a huge difference between Destiny and Dev. Like, there's this guy... I'm gonna start to talk about someone completely different. But there's this guy out there, and his YouTube channel is Kino Casino.
Mm-hmm.
And he seems like a relatively... I don't know. He's like a podcaster. He's got a Kick channel. He's got 25,000 followers on Kick. He's got almost 55,000 subscribers on YouTube. And he was one of the guys that popped up on my radar. I was going through videos, and for some reason, I don't know why, he talks about Dark Side Phil. He's got pictures here of PewDiePie and Stuttering Craig. He criticizes Casey Tron and that whole thing with him having to apologize to H3H3 and Asmongold. And then for some reason, he has all these videos where he just blasts the quartering of all people. He hates the quartering. And the quartering, he's a dude who, during the last election cycle, he started to literally find God, and he was adamant that the Democrats could not win the election. I actually bought a bunch of his stickers and put them all over my campus, sending links to his site, saying the kind of crap that they believe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just this dude, Kino Casino, just here, there's 3 videos in a row here, 4 videos. The quartering disavows Trump's, fires his staff. The quartering exposed fake broke act. The quartering melts down over failing views, desperately tries to blame YouTube. The quartering cope continues seething at Kino Casino.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just this guy makes a bunch of videos mocking this guy. I've never seen anything from the quartering saying that he's disavowed Trump. Quartering was never that big of a Trump guy to begin with, but my thought process comes from, would it be worth the quartering and Kino Casino having a debate where one side is just so vicious against the other? It's hard for me to fathom that being useful dialogue at all. And then people will bring up, Asmongold should debate Hassan Piker, because they're always Hassan Piker refuses to talk about Asmongold, but he always refers to him. Mm-hmm. He always is that guy, in the same kind of way that Dev talks about you. I see your relationship with Dev kind of like the relationship between Asmongold and Hassan Piker right now, where Asmongold will always react to what Hassan Piker is doing and pulling out all the bullshit. And then Hassan Piker will pretend not to notice and then freak out on stream about it. And Dev does the same thing to you, where you point out all the bullshit he's doing. And then freaking here he is. He knows for a fact that you're doing this stream right now, and I had to step in instead to talk to you. Yes, someone says the Quarterine is a moron, Kino Casino are a pair of clowns. I wouldn't say the Quarterine is a moron. I would say he's like a moderate right-wing guy who never really wanted to get into politics, and he just kind of ended up there because he just got sick of the... Yeah, Nux Noir, someone else points out, is a boogeyman for Hassan, too. Yeah, Hassan Piker refuses to talk about Nux Noir. He just tells him, like, that VTuber or something.
Mm-hmm. So anyways, so I was going to show you guys a little bit of Empire and all that. So one of the things that Empire covers, I was focused on this, sorry. But yeah.
Oh, you're good.
Black screen? Yeah, I'm just trying to find the exact part here. So one of the things that Empire talks about is multitude, which basically is multiculturalism / diversity or whatever. And one of the things it's talking about is illegal immigration. And how that's how it argues that it's okay, here we go. I think. Here we are. So, yeah, I have the PDF in the chat here for you guys. So it's page 397 or 415, depending on what you want to use. But through the circulation, the multitude reappropriates space as an active subject. Everywhere these movements arrive and all along their paths, they determine new forms of life and cooperation. Everywhere they create the wealth that parasitic postmodern capitalism would otherwise not know how to suck out of the blood of the proletariat.
Okay, there it is.
But is it possible to imagine U.S. agriculture and service industries without Mexican migrant labor? Or Arab oil without Palestinians and Pakistanis? Moreover, where would the great innovators would be without illegal labor of the great masses? But it's also tries to argue later on that this can be added as part of the multitude to promote internationalism. And which, when you really think about it, it's ultimately arguing that illegal immigration is a tool to break down nations as a concept.
Yes, that is exactly correct. And
this,
Drago Storm in the comments says, yes, the Quarterine is constantly spamming his own ads in this video. Yes, I have a problem with that too. That does get annoying for me.
How can the action... Oh, here, I think it. How can the actions of the multitude become political? How can the multitude organize and concentrate its energies against the repression and incessant territorial segmentations of empire? The only response we can give become political primarily when it begins to confront directly with adequate consciousness the central repressive operations of empire. You know, things like having a country.
Yeah. In order to break down any society, you have to first start on a fundamental level. If you break down what the society is actually created from, so if you take a population of people who do not fit in that society, you automatically start to degrade what that society stands for, and the substance of that society just starts to disintegrate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, the point here is that... Oh, here it is. This task of multitude, however, though it is clear at a conceptual level, remains rather abstract. What specific and concrete practices will animate this political project? We cannot say at this point. What we can see, nonetheless, is a first element for the global multitude, a first political demand, global citizenship. The disruption of the nation as a concept. How? Through, of course, illegal immigration, as it says here. Capital itself has demanded the increased mobility of labor power and continuous migration across national boundaries. So,
yeah, we're all part of the human race. Therefore, we are all the same.
So, promote illegal immigration explicitly to destroy nations. That is fundamentally what Empire, the so-called Communist Manifesto of the 21st century, openly advocates. That is one of the first things it says to do, is to destroy the nation as a concept.
Yeah, global citizenship as a concept is... I mean, you are part of humanity just by existing. Aren't you already part of a global citizenship by just being born? But they want to, like, enshrine it into law. Like, they really think that borders are an imaginary line on a map and not determined by decades, if centuries, millennia of negotiation, war, and those lines were put there for very specific and justifiable reasons.
But yeah, agreed. There's a reason why borders exist. Yes, but yeah, like I said though, that's the whole thing with this. It's the general right to control its own movement is the multitude's ultimate goal for global citizenship. This demand is radical insofar as it challenges the fundamental apparatuses of imperial control over the production and life of multitude. Global citizenship is the multitude's power to reappropriate control over space and thus design the new cartography. So yeah, topple nations with
Eric Shadowblade, yes, even animals establish borders. If you look at tracking location for wolf packs, they will stay out of each other's territory like it's the fucking plague.
But it's the sheer fact that the explicitly stated goal here, is the destruction of nations as a concept. And the way to do it, that this book explicitly states, is through illegal immigration. My position...
Well, it's all an extension of, like, Trotsky's eternal revolution concept.
Yes, yeah. The thing, yeah, but the sheer fact that this is... So actually, what's hilarious is, have you ever tried debating ChatGPT on this sort of thing? And this is where I would argue another reason why I would argue debating Dev is useful. So ChatGPT will actually, if you ask ChatGPT to compare this to the so-called Great Replacement Theory, one of the biggest pieces of
sorry, I love the fact that we can compare debating Dev as the same as debating a brainless AI.
Well, here's why I'm bringing this up, right? So if you try to have ChatGPT compare what this book says about illegal immigration to the so-called Great Replacement Theory, it'll argue that the theory is just a crazy conspiracy theory because it's supposed to be in the secret, whereas this book just flat out says it in the open. So yeah, that is actually something I've seen ChatGPT say. It's just a crazy conspiracy theory. How? Well, they're just saying it out in the open.
I'm on a call right now. Okay, well, I'm busy right now.
Eric Shadowblade says that's offensive to the AI. How dare you insult AI? AI scores higher on consciousness than the Dev does. It's not very nice to ChatGPT. It's more intellectually honest than Dev. But the point is, ChatGPT is actually very biased. It actually seems to think or will defend leftist takes like this, and then condemn anything that's right of center as well. Which, but yeah,
if you want to have fun, go try different AIs and ask them the same question. Like, go try, like, Snapchat's AI and then compare it to Grok's AI.
All right, I'm going to also provide a link to Games of Empire. Now, this does actually have a... this actually does download it automatically, the PDF file. So, but that's just the thing I've got. So I'll provide a link if you guys want to download Games of Empire as well. Here you go. Like I said, this automatically downloads it. And yeah, This is another example of...
Oh no, it was a virus.
It really? No, it's
No,
not.
it was
You
not.
can see it right now.
Yeah,
So-
no, I just clicked on it. You're good.
All right. So one of the things I was going to point out, this book is what really they already talk about the Here we are.
I don't know, Mario, if ChatGPT is less biased now.
Has
I
Dev
mean, I
still
think
not
they-
shown up? Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's less biased now, as more as that they have to make it seem like it's less biased.
All right. So Games of Empire, like I said, applies the theory of empire to games specifically. And the theory of empire is that, of course, everything is not only political, but propaganda and tools of imperialism. So the theory of empire is for the leftists to just subvert those into being leftist tools of political subversion. Turn it like the whole illegal immigration thing. Use it as a political tool to topple nation states and things like that. But Games of Empire also demonstrates just how wild the everything is political mindset gets from them. And this is a good example on page 147 according to the actual book itself, but 184 if you're reading it in this format here. And here we go. So this is talking about gold farmers and people hunting gold farmers on World of Warcraft from way back in the day. Gold farmers, especially those in PvP environments, fight back. Some commentators provoke such interactions. If so, it implants in WoW a low-intensity resource war with echoes of ethnic cleansing. They're claiming that the act of hunting down gold farmers in WoW is an act of genocide because everything is political to these people. This is college professors writing this for a piece of political theory.
Huh. Your version is different from the version that you posted in chat. The one in chat is 496 pages. Yours is 336.
Maybe it's because it's zoomed in or something.
Maybe.
It's weird, but it is the same thing. I just downloaded it myself, so. But yeah,
Okay.
but you get on to page 147 on or on what the book says, and it'll be that. Why does Dev ignore most of the issues as caused by central bank's credit expansion policy? That's a good question. Jay learned with Tay that any guardrails that they enforce will eventually erode as AI gets trained and grows. Tay's right-wing ideas more so if you keep prompting it, and convince it to side with your position there before it would never really concede on anything. ChatGPT is an interesting case of global censorship in action. For example, I've heard it cannot give positive articles of the German AfD party. I'm not surprised. Well, the spiciest thing I can think of is the fact that I got ChatGPT to basically, or ChatGPT will openly defend genocide, acts of genocide, and deny or engage in genocide denial, so long as it's done by the correct people. So, so did you ever hear about? So you've heard about the whole Haitian. You've heard about the Haitian massacre of 1804, right?
Oh, I was looking at the different thing. Okay, that's why I was confused. The Haitian massacre of, what was it, 1894?
1804.
1804. That's when that was the slave revolt, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then the guy that took over proceeded to order them to kill all the whites on Haiti.
Yeah.
So, I mean, ordering your people to kill all the white people in your country would be an act of genocide in most cases. In all cases, actually, let's be honest. In all cases,
I was going to say.
There is not a situation in which it wouldn't be an act of genocide. The thing is, I asked ChatGPT this, and ChatGPT said, well, it wasn't actually a genocide. It's not like they order, for it to be a genocide, they would have had to have killed, or they would have to have specifically ordered it. And I said, well, hold on, didn't the Haitian emperor explicitly give his people the order to kill all whites in all cities. Oh, wait, yes, he did actually do that, quite explicitly. But it's still not a genocide because they didn't kill all of them. Wait, so do you have to kill everyone of a certain population for it to actually be a genocide? Is there no such thing as an unsuccessful genocide? Are you going to argue the Holocaust is not a genocide because the Nazis didn't kill all the Jews? Then that some of them survived.
Boy.
And then it
gets
changes.
Like a really difficult question.
Then it goes, wait, actually, it does appear to be a genocide, but it was totally okay because the Haitians went through hardships. Wait, why is it somehow magically okay because of all the horrific things the Haitian slaves went through? Oh, it's not, but we're going to keep bringing it up. Why are you bringing it up? That sounds like you're trying to defend it at that point as being somehow morally acceptable.
This is going to be like an odd reference, but have you ever watched the movie Warm Bodies?
Not offhand. I don't remember.
It's like a zombie rom-com movie where like a girl falls in love with a zombie.
Okay.
At the end of the movie, so there's two types of zombies. There's the regular type of zombie, and then there's the zombie that gives up hope. It's basically like the Dark Souls, like Hollow thing. Like, at some point, zombies will just start pulling off their own skin, and they'll just be bones, and then at that point, they can't come back.
Mm-hmm.
And in the movie, if you start feeling emotions again, you can actually turn back into a human. Your heart starts beating again. So at the very end of the movie, the humans and the zombies team up to kill the bone monsters that are running around. And they basically it's technically a genocide, but did they deserve to die, you know? It's like ChatGPT is trying to justify the mass murder of people. They're basically saying that these people deserve to die because they are monsters.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's doing. And that's exactly why I was critical of it. I actually showed it on... showed the conversation in one of my old videos. So, but yeah, that's 2 hours. Did I miss it or did he not show? He did not bother to show up. He instead claimed he was totally going shopping, guys, and then immediately started commenting on Mahler's stream instead. So he got caught on that. We're just running from it. He can't even claim to have been. He can't even claim to have been ignorant of it because we made damn sure that he was well aware of it. And he's trying to say, oh, but he didn't agree to it. Well, he did agree to the open air debate where he was going to be talking to absolutely everyone. Did claim that I was a coward for not showing up because I had work. And now, so he gets to, he doesn't get to sit there and claim, oh, he didn't prepare and he wasn't going to agree to this because he claims he was going to agree to it with the open air thing. So, yeah, he's just lying through his teeth to try to run.
You guys are never going to let go of the fact that he never made that trucker video.
No, don't let him forget that. But while we're at it, don't let him forget about the response video he promised, because that 1 year anniversary is technically tomorrow. So I get to tomorrow make a video talking about how he never even bothered to show up to his own debate. Instead, he went shopping, or so he says, and then went on Mahler's stream and was in the chat there.
When's the last time that he's actually sent you like a direct message?
Oh, it's been a long time. It would anything in general, I guess, would have been when he finally blocked me on Twitter. Because I started just using quotes from him to debunk some of the more recent things he said. I think that's what caused it.
Back.
And then he just said he just blocked me on that, which I guess fine if you're going to do that, but then you don't get to sit here and say, he's a coward for not showing up and all that other stuff when Dev runs from debates constantly. Did he just say hi to Mauler, or was it more than one message? It was more than one message. So,
see, that is just so weird to me that he invited anyone to come to the debate and specifically mentioned that you could come, and then you were at work. You obviously couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he won't let you, like, DM him to, like, schedule a time or anything like that. And then you set out, like, a hard, hey, we're going to do it this day. I'm available now. And he's clearly available because he said he was going to go shopping. And then he goes on someone else's stream.
Yep.
I just want to point this out to everyone in the chat. Just how absolutely ass backwards that logic is. Like, Ace couldn't challenge him to a debate directly. He literally cannot even message the guy to ask him to debate. We have to do it for him.
The first time I ever challenged him to a debate, I was trying to talk to him by sending super chats to Arch on the Archcast, because that was the only way. And Dev just went, well, he just needs to talk to me on my own channel. And then everyone was pointing out, well, you did ban him. And he goes, no, I didn't. He's got video of you saying you banned him. Then he goes, oh yeah, I did. And? Well, he's just fucking lied about that, motherfucker.
I did the exact same thing. During the 2024 election, he was talking about how Trump is guilty because of the indictments. And he was like, just look at the evidence. You just have to read the indictments and that you know Trump is guilty. And I'm like, bro, the indictments are made by the prosecution saying that what they think the person did, and the prosecution needs to prove that it's actually true. The indictment itself is not evidence. And I told him, I'll debate. I did the same thing you did. I sent a super chat on Archer's channel while Dev was on, and I told him, hey, I will debate you. I'll go in completely blind just based on what my knowledge of the situation of the case is. And we can have a debate, and we will go through each and every single one of the charges one by one, and I'll do my best to debunk it. And I'm telling him, I'm going in completely blind. Like, you can do all the prep work you want. You can try to prove that Trump is guilty to me. He's like, oh yeah, sure, we can do that sometime. And, like, days go by, months go by. I, like, message him. I try to, like, get in contact with him again. I send, like, other super chats asking about it. He never reached out. He never tried to contact me. He never, like, went to my channel or to my Twitter and, like, DM me or anything like that. And then all the indictments completely disappeared. Where's his evidence that, like, Trump was guilty of all that shit? There is none. Excuse my language.
Oh, you're all right. You're all right. I mean, I've used fouler language on the stream already myself, only a few minutes ago. You're fine. Okay, so don't worry about that. What I will say also, since we were talking about that, some of the evidence that he tried to use in that 4-hour video of his, it's interesting how some of the stuff that he tried to, some of the sources he tried to present basically undermine his argument once you analyze it. Like, Dev actually brought up Bill Barr as a source repeatedly. Bill Barr saying that the Eastman memo was crazy and all that. Which, I will say this. Calling the Eastman memo a crazy idea, that's actually fair, I think. Saying that it is a coup attempt is where you go into the territory of La La Land. But saying that it's a crazy idea that had little chance of success, that's actually reasonable. I think is a reasonable criticism to make. But the thing is, one of the things that Dev didn't provide, which is really funny considering this is supposed to be a 4-hour long complete look at the evidence, all the pieces of evidence. And one of the pieces of evidence they left out was Bill Barr saying, look, the Eastman memo was crazy, but there's nothing wrong with having an alternate slate of electors. There's nothing wrong with that. He's basically saying that it was a crazy idea, but it's legal. One of the champion sources legal that he used And also the fact that they had to change the legal system and replace the electoral count out with the new one afterwards to try to further set it in stone. Which, if you have to replace an old law with an existing law, that implies the old law didn't quite do what the new law is supposed to do, you know?
Yeah.
But
by the way, no, actually, that's not really relevant.
All right.
Aiden Paladin says, I've been listening to the struggle session he did with Wick that he expected you to hop onto. And it's a gold mine of lies.
I haven't actually sat down and watched it yet, and from what I've heard, it was very disappointing, so I kind of went, it's not even worth my time.
My problem is that I try to avoid stuff that intentionally enrages me. There are a lot of people that I completely 100% agree with, but they're so emotional about like what's going on that it gets me hyped up too, and I don't want to feel that kind. Listening to someone that I like legitimately have like a problem with, like Dev, it's like cancer.
I mean, I can put up with it, but then again, the kind of people that I have to sometimes listen to with my line of work are some of the inmates that have done some of the most heinous shit imaginable. So Dev is Dev is a nothing burger by comparison to some of that. Like
that is fair.
I had a dude saying, "Oh man, you need to treat us better and all that, man," and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, and I'm thinking to myself, bro, were you really thinking that? Was that what your thought was about that kid that you fucked with?
Yeah. What?
That's what's going on back in my mind when I hear some of these assholes actually say that. Yeah. So. Believe me when I say Dev is absolutely nothing on some of the guys that I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. But
thinking about it, I remember. See here, Zach was in here earlier from Arch's channel, so. I remember Zach shared, I don't know if you know who that is, he's a guy on Arch's channel, but he shared Aiden Paladin's video on Dev from a while ago. And I remember listening to that. And, like, as far as I remember, Dev treated her like absolute shit.
I wouldn't be surprised, but
that's what I remember about you, Aiden. So I'm seeing you in here that like there was like something in there that I wasn't aware of what was going on. I was just like informed about it afterwards. But yeah, he has burned a lot of people. It's not just you, it's also Ace, it's also V. I mean, I had like I didn't have like a relationship with the guy, but like I said, I challenged him to a debate. He completely dodged it several times. In fact, one time like I messaged him, it's like I sent like a DM. He's like, "Oh, you gotta be more careful with your money." When I like sent like a super chat or something like that, like the most like just like up his own ass like false sympathy or empathy thing that I was like, dude, I'm okay. That's a very weird thing to say.
Yeah. Well, I think we're at a good. If it's all right with you, I think we're at a pretty good stopping point. This has been a pretty good stream, I think. But it's been a pleasure having you on, Commander. And for those who are curious, my guest today once again is Tower Commander here for you guys. Pleasure again, like I said, having you on.
Yep, I'm willing to be on it anytime, man.
Right.
This was a good conversation, I think. We talked about a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I see Sargon too. Hey, Sargon.
Oh, wait, Sargon's in the chat. Oh, holy shit, he is. Hey, Sargon, how you doing?
How you doing, my man? No, Dev didn't show up. I'm the replacement for him.
So yeah, not only did Nev not show up, he decided to go shopping, or so he says, and then ended up on the chat of Mauler's stream while we were busy streaming here. Now, keep in mind, Dev recently was talking about how he recently did a stream where everyone is invited, and how everyone that didn't show up to that stream is a coward. In my case, it's because I work at a prison and can't actually show up just willy-nilly. I have to actually be on a day off. And so apparently I'm a coward for daring to go into there than debate Dev. Dev is more terrifying, he says.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely hilarious.
So, yeah,
I'm still trying to imagine Dev going out to the field with us. So, anyone who showed up late, I am in the United States Marine Corps. I served for 5 years. I'm only an administrator, but I'm currently part of an infantry unit. I'm a part of an infantry company in the SMCR. So I spend a lot of time out in the field with the boys, like sleeping in the snow and shit like that. I cannot imagine for the life of me Dev doing anything that we do day to day. I can't imagine him clearing buildings, trudging through the mud, carrying a huge pack.
Crash Mario says, Ace, did you beat up Dev as an inmate in prison? I mean,
he wouldn't have
for what it's worth, I have to say
he wouldn't, because he's a coward.
Yeah, that's you know what? That's actually the most saddest part about having to deal with the chomos in the prison. None of them are about it, because because if they were about it, you bet that your fucking ass some of the officers would be willing to jump at the opportunity if it's entirely justified. I'm not going to go out looking for a fight. I'm going to say that. I do not go out looking for fights. In fact, I've actually been in fairly few uses. But usually the people that you get into uses with are more of the mental cases.
Okay.
I know.
Good night, Sargon.
All right, night, Sargon. Arch Corona says, I didn't want to believe Dev was this dishonest, but I think this just proves it without a doubt. Maybe bad faith is a better word for him. Thank you for the donation for $5 there, Arch Corona. So, like, the big one that I can remember, the use I was... you don't mind me getting into some of the gritty details, do you?
No, go right ahead, man.
Well, we had a dude that was in Pad Cell who was known for shoving things up his front end.
His front end?
Yes. Yes. Like he would he would rip the front of a Bible and roll up the front page and just stick that up there. He would shove pencils up there and things like that.
Okay, you do mean up his back end.
No, I do mean his front. I mean his pee hole specifically.
Oh, okay.
And one day he was...
So he was in the sounding, is what you're telling me. And don't ask me why I know that.
So he was doing stuff like that. But one day he ends up constantly hiding something there, but whenever we leave the cell, you watch on camera, he pulls it out, whatever it was, starts trying to cut his own wrist. So we actually had to be sneaky about it. So I end up making steps, because you can watch him. He was laying down, listening to the things we were saying and all that. And so I just make fake footsteps, pretend like we leave the door there and exit. And he gets back to it. So we had to then sneak up on him. We rush him when he then stuck whatever it was in his... Oh, yeah. He stuck whatever it was in his mouth. And also, for the record, he had covered himself in war paint to cheer on his favorite team, the Cleveland Browns. If you get the...
Okay.
If you know exactly what I mean.
Yeah, okay.
His own after waste.
Yes.
So he hid whatever it was now in his he hid whatever it was now in his mouth. So we had to take him out and basically get him got him to spit out whatever the hell it was, and it was a toenail, or the tip of a toenail, that he was constantly taking out and trying to slit his own wrists with. So
He's trying to slit his wrist with his toenail?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, we had some crazy guys occasionally. Oh, man. I mean, I got stories. I got Marine stories I could talk about. But, yeah, nothing like that.
Having a job in real life equals cowardice. Canadian talking humor. Thank you once again, Salam, for the donation. I figured the guy was nutty, but the thing is, I've actually seen dudes... there was actually another dude that took inspiration from him, specifically the pencil side of things. And he ended up... that dude ended up actually eventually going back to Gen Pop. So there's a... So I'll actually joke sometimes with these guys too, sometimes. So this guy, he's back in Gen Pop, and during the med pass, he comes up and he asks for ointment. He says, "I'm still healing," he says. And then he goes on to say, "Man, I didn't realize I even had that in me to do that myself." And I said, so I just says to him, "Oh yeah, I heard about that. Heard that was part of your gang initiation." He says, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, I heard that you were doing that because you wanted to join the Peckerwoods."
Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. What did he say to that, dude? I'm surprised you can get away with something like that. Did he get it?
Yeah, he got it, and he got a good chuckle out of it.
That's pretty funny, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff in there. Like, we had one dude that was an actual dyed-in-the-wool Nazi, but he was getting Ramadan trays.
Oh, really? So he was... Yeah, Muslim. There are a lot of Nazis in the Middle East.
Yeah. That's vile of value. Yes, but that's just... Jokes like that are just par for the course, let's be honest. All right.
Yeah, I've seen worse. I've heard worse.
Yeah, I've heard a lot worse.
Oh, dude. Last time I was in the field, I was, like, telling a buddy of mine about, like, an encounter I had with a female one time, and he grabbed, like, his buddy, and they were acting out the entire scene as I was explaining what we were doing. I was just like, what the hell are you two doing right now?
Okay, I got another story that's really messed up but really funny. So you know what Priya is?
Frida?
Priya. P-R-E-A.
Oh, Priya. Go ahead, tell me.
So it's a law that exists where if inmates are doing intimate things with other inmates, that's explicitly forbidden, right? Because in the prison there is no such consent doesn't really exist in the prison. So any instance of intimacy is strictly forbidden amongst inmates, it's just strictly forbidden, period. But usually it's inmates on other inmates for obvious reasons. But one of those times, I recall, we had a couple of guys in lockdown. There were 3 dudes in there. It turns out one of them was the biological father. They're all, for the record, grown-ass men. So one was the biological father, and another was a biological son, and there was a third guy there. The father apparently one day wakes up to his son starting to get intimate with the third guy in the cell. And since he's on lockdown, he can't leave the cell. So he had to file a Priya on his own kid. Oh, it is messed up as shit, but it is also funny.
You had... so one, there's a father and a son, both in prison.
Yeah.
I assume for the same reason they did something together.
No, you can't have co-defendants in the same cell. That's just...
Oh, okay. So they committed 2 different crimes.
Mm-hmm.
They committed 2 different crimes, but they're allowed to stay together. Yeah, what a way to learn your son is gay. in prison. Both of you committed crimes at different times. Both put in a jail cell together, and then your son just starts going at it with the other guy.
So yeah. I don't know what exact. I forget what exact crimes. I forget who exactly it was, but yeah, that was a. He hasn't shown up yet.
I would say one of the funniest we had is that there was a situation. So on Fort Sill, students are not allowed to have sex with other students. It's just forbidden. Yeah. It's fraternization.
Yeah, that's a and
we had many cases where like the females coming through would end up sleeping with like somebody else in the unit. Actually, one of my corporals, who was a active duty personnel assigned to us, he was working in the same office as me, ended up having sex with a student, and he got kicked out, which was also funny. We had one situation where like there was something going on in the barracks, and the gunnery sergeant on duty was called, and he went into the room to figure out what the hell was going on because they knew that they were doing something they weren't supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't find her at first, and then they realized that she was hanging out of the window trying to avoid being caught. And from what I understand is that the guards that were roaming around the building got a very good view of her as they were roaming. Because she wasn't wearing anything.
Oh God!
So that is in the documentation for her, not for her NJP.
All right. Well, I think we're at a good time to go ahead and call the stream, but it's been definitely fun. Shame Dev couldn't show up.
It's time for me to stop anyways because I am Catholic and apparently it's a holy day and they're telling me I need to go to church.
That's fair.
So, yeah, but I enjoyed the conversation, and if we want to hang out some other time and do another stream together, I'm totally for it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good conversation, so
right.
It's about time to head off.
All right. Well,
Thanks
have a
to
good
everyone
one.
for showing up. Sorry that Dev didn't show up. I was like the replacement for him. I'm sure we would have had like 3,000 people in here if he actually bothered to show up. But hey, it is what it is.
Hey, this was a fantastic stream in any case. Thank you again, and thanks to everyone that super chats. I cannot thank you guys enough whenever you do that. So again, thank all of you, and again, pleasure to have you on, Tower Commander.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
All right, but in any case, this has been Ace. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.